Hello and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Jonathan. This is This and That. We are going to be discussing all things going on in the skating world this week. Bit of a smorgasbord for everyone. We've got the Nebelhorn Trophy. We've got the Junior Grand Prix in Ljubljana, a little bit of the Russia Cup, Evgenia Medvedeva returning to Alegria, this time two-handed cartwheel instead of one, did the trick. So if you are new here, please subscribe below and smash that like button. Jonathan, lots happening. I don't know. It was an intense week in New Jersey with this Nebelhorn Trophy. I mean, everyone was...
And it's my favorite reminder that Nebelhorn auf Deutsch means foghorn. So we're all excited for foghorns. Yeah. Foghorn so signifying excited. Your Olympic entrance. Yeah.
Yes. So excited and ready for it. So.
And some people were ready for it. Some people less so. Yeah.
You know, yes. And you know what? Here in New Jersey, we are focusing on the positives. Evgeni Krasnopolski with his partner Hailey Kops, they teamed together in July, skated to the impossible dream, and they have toiled, they have struggled, they have done it for 3 months, and they qualified for the Olympics over. And you know what? I knew
That's
it.
Amazing.
I knew it. I knew it would happen. Okay, it's just you cannot count him out. So,
what country are they representing?
Israel.
Israel. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, of course, I should have known. Yeah.
Come on, Jonathan. Okay. This is like his 8th partner. Come on.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. All right.
You know the old saying, 8th time's the charm. Yeah.
Yes, he had 3 partners this summer doing that same program to the impossible dream. And we found the right one and we got it done. All right.
Found his Dulcinea. Okay.
I think it was like a Josh Groban cover. I mean, it's truly awful, but you know what?
Right. He's going to be at the Tonys tonight. I'm going to the Tonys after we do this. And he's
you
like
one of Jonathan, what has happened to you? You used to be this highbrow, frou-frou, like vases. Yes.
I still have the vases. What's that, Dave? Like, you wanted to see my new one? I bought a new one. It's my own 40th birthday present to myself because I turned 40 coming up. It's got these like lions and snakes on them. It is intense. 40 and weighs 3,000 pounds. So now I feel weird about putting it down.
Well, you know what? You're working your arm muscles. You're just
which are non-existent. Gosh, like oh my gosh, the Polish team. I don't know if you saw the Polish pairs moment. That I hate seeing lift falls like that. And also when the guy was like, okay, she just fell down. She like bent in half. It was heinous to see. And then he's like, okay, come on, let's go. And I was like, maybe she needs a second. Gosh, crazy. These Paris girls, they are tough.
God was on Evgeni's side, okay? I don't know. It looked like the Polish team forgot the program. I don't know what happened to China, but you know what? Israel is in, and that's the most important part, okay?
There it is. There it is. New Jersey, represent.
And also our other friend from the rink, it's a bit of a wedgie situation going on in her costume from week to week. And you know what? She looks great. And that's what's really important. Okay.
Amazing.
And she's my favorite. So it's, you know.
She did well. Yeah.
She did great. So, yeah.
So let's talk out these ladies for a moment, because I have some questions for you about, since you're working on your axel with all these like great technicians, I'm curious to get your different takes. We saw several triple axel attempts from Americans, from Lindsay.
I'm not working on a triple axel, just for the record.
Okay.
I only know when I'm yelled at, Jonathan. I could just tell you.
Okay.
I can talk the Trusova one. That one I've like analyzed and looked at and discussed with people. So.
Because it's interesting watching Alysa last week, or at Lombardia when she landed it, it seemed like kind of no-brainer she's got it. So to see her sort of pop this one, I was just sort of surprised.
Look, she's had problems with this element. It was her element. People always talked about it being cheated kind of on both sides, as well as her quad. But losing it, getting it back, here under pressure, I'm not surprised that she popped it in the free, although she's been skating very well and performing. This is what, her 4th or 5th competitive outing in a while. So this is
very solid, very solid.
You know, this is a chunk of a high stress situation for her, where she went from Cranberry to Champs Camp to the competition, you know, a week ago to here. this is a long period of time for her to then now come down and then get ready for the Grand Prix and then get ready for nationals. There's a lot of pressure on her. So I'm not surprised to have like a little bit of a problem come out at the end of this long situation on an element that's maybe not her most comfortable, her most consistent. She did her job here. She won. She looked overall to be the best of the field from beginning of the competition to end. I do think Ekaterina Kurakova, I think she was incredible in the free skate and really showed a lot of strength and a lot of power. And I think that she could have won the overall competition had she performed with that same kind of vitality in the short program. But I think from beginning to end, you look at the practices, you look at everything, I think Alysa really did her job and nailed it. And in that sense, I think that she is certainly the front runner going to the Olympics in the US. I think I would put her name in pencil and
100%.
2 blanks at this point. And, I think she looked more senior here than she has. She looked confident. Her glide is getting better. They've been working on it a lot. There was an article Phil Hirsch did. They keep working on her skating and there's improvement. And I think that a lot of the other skaters, even if we've seen them perform better, the ones that were going for the Olympic spot who their country didn't have any spot, right? Like Alysa was getting that 3rd spot to the US, but everyone went in here with the attitude that the US was going to do it, right? All of the other skaters are like us, where they're looking at, oh, I think this person's going to qualify. I think this person's going to qualify. So maybe there are 4 spots really available. Maybe there are 3. And just knowing, talking to the different skaters who were going to Nebelhorn, everyone thought that Alysa was going to do it. Everyone just looked at the way she was skating and just thought that it was going to happen. And she showed up and delivered. And I think after that short program, you really think that she's going to do it. Looking at the other ones, the Nebelhorn nerves really, really got the best of a number of these skaters that we've seen do better at smaller competitions leading into this. So and I, having been to, it's funny when you start to go to the smaller competitions and you start to see the skaters and you see the Tara Prasads and the Amelia Zingases and seeing how they perform and seeing here, I felt disappointed that certain countries didn't get a spot. I'm a big fan of the country of Cyprus in figure skating and the federation, and seeing that, the 2 skaters did so well over the last couple of months, and then here, not qualifying a spot, especially last weekend of the Autumn Classic doing so well.
Win, it's tough. Well, and it's interesting also then even seeing Alexia Paganini. Every time when she starts, like she's got that great triple Lutz triple toe combo, like it has this like lovely throwback quality to it. And I'll forever remember she just kind of tasted that like moment of spotlight at a European Championships. And I think people would go with it. Her skating is always pleasant to me because it's nostalgic in a way. But nice to see her do what she needed to do here. Yeah.
She was great here, especially coming off of Worlds where she had a really rough short program. I think for Alexia, the performance is always an area where she could focus to get more points. Her jumps are really strong and they've gotten better. I thought she did her job here. I think it's strange that Nikolai choreographed this program and she's doing Scheherazade and Annabelle's doing Scheherazade. I mean, I've seen Cole put more energy into classes that he was doing for Krieger Studio, where we were doing on the floor and he was kneeling the whole time for an hour. What is happening? What?
I always feel like they're on commission or something like that, like with the Rimsky-Korsakov Foundation or something. They're just like, just giving it to everybody. Yeah.
What is happening there? Really, Cole? Like, really? Right? Come on. This is... I mean, do you know how much these people charge an hour, Jonathan, for them to give
that's the thing. Yeah. And even the same part.
When you're over 150 an hour and you're giving the same music choice to your daughter and your top female student, come on. That is... I'm sorry. All right. I say that with so much love. All right. That is beyond phoning it in. The Nebelhorn, it did have a little bit of a phoning it in quality this year to Nebelhorn, with...
it seemed a little more disorganized in some of the skaters' preparation. Like you just saw everybody, like it was really fascinating, I think, in the men's event. Like I felt like Vincent treated this like his Olympics. Like there was so
Oh,
much.
did Shin Amano. And that, if you go to skatingscores.com, is a protocol for the ages. He needs a Shin Amano Hall of Fame off of the main page. Okay. There needs to be the Shin Amano calls with the embedded video to like look at an all-time great moment. Okay.
Mhm.
Shin special.
Yeah.
He is a gem to figure skating. I would like to see maybe a joint discussion with Tom Zakrajcek, Shin Amano, Vincent, Zhou together. I mean, Hall of Fame moment. Okay,
Yeah.
that was quite the protocol. I don't think anything was incorrect, but it felt. You've been gaslit by people for years. Of Tom Z telling us, no, those jumps are clean, and being like, really,
You're like, I guess I don't understand because that definitely doesn't look clean. Yeah.
I felt like order was restored. I felt calmer. I felt stabilized. My pH.
But Shin may have been the caller, but he certainly wasn't judging the PCS, because even all this considered, his PCS was still like averaging around like 8.5 for a lot of those marks. And I just thought,
did you see the other men here? It's on a scale, Jonathan.
And that's what I had to think. Like, it's got to be relative to those competing around him and not just.
So funny that I was getting messages. I got messages from a nice Canadian girl who was very triggered with Vincent's marks versus Roman. And I was like, well, there's how skating should be, but then obviously if someone lands the jumps, that determines. And I mean, there were not enough candles for Roman Sadovsky for what he put us through this week, Jonathan.
I know.
Okay. So, moment of honesty. I adore his skating.
It's gorgeous skating.
The quality, the knees, the artistic component, the spins, the jumps. He's been shafted the last 2 seasons.
I know.
And granted, this really is his biggest international competition after not having those 2. Now, this can make it a bigger situation in your head when your federation hasn't believed in you, right? Do you feel better or worse about his Olympic chances, the fact that he got the absolute last spot?
Because Italy didn't need theirs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it just...
better or worse about it? I don't think he did anything where Canada would have to be like, oh, we owe him. Right?
No, certainly not. And if we are assuming the other choice is Nam,
yeah,
Nam
is like the little engine that could, Jonathan. Do you realize?
I know. For me personally, I would just always choose Roman because I believe in what he's doing. But unfortunately, because I said, if I were the Canadian Federation, I would have been tempted to send him to Worlds so he would get all of this experience. I think the more he does this, then he will become more consistent. But all it did was prove that the Federation was right.
The Marie France life coach working with Roman stat. Okay.
Yeah.
You have that much talent. You have that much ability. And he came in skirted through, and during the free skate, you didn't know if it was going to happen. And you have to think that it was
second quad was a huge moment in the last half of the program.
But I have to say, it felt like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost, based on what Canada has done to the skater by not choosing him twice. And
and not giving him that mileage. Like, this is how I felt when suddenly Jason Brown was like 4th or whatever it was after the Sochi short program. I was like, we've not prepared this person because we've not been sending him anywhere. It's unfair to expect someone to just figure out all those nerves without the mileage.
The problem is there's no right way, especially with the competitions that were available and not available the last seasons with 4 continents not happening and things like that. But when you don't pick a skater, you're telling them we don't believe in you. Right. Whether that's your intention or not, and you're focusing on sending the other person, it sends a message to the other one of we don't believe in you, right? To have that happen twice, and then to be like, but we want you to get us the spot for the Olympics. Like, that starts to get up here. And I think for Roman, seeing him here, he was better than 5 or 6 of those guys ahead of him.
Easy in pure quality and sheer jumping aesthetic, absolutely. But my question is, do you think that had Nam gone, he would have placed better? I don't think that's necessarily true.
I don't think necessarily.
Yeah.
I think Nam probably would have gotten the spot.
Yeah. But maybe in the same way.
Yeah. Maybe.
But yet with
on the same position.
Yeah, but with such different for such different reasons. Like, again, the minute Roman just starts doing some crossovers, you're like, oh, this is stunning. Yeah.
And as for Vincent, I think big for him to win here, but I don't think the protocol did him any favors looking ahead towards, will he keep going after Nathan Chen retires? Will he, right? What happens with his medal chances with Worlds?
But suddenly I was left thinking, do you think he could be in that final group again at the Olympics? Do you think he could be top 6? I see him, even though it's not my brand. I do appreciate that he seems to be trying more, but I was like, I don't know. This is still a top 6.
He can maintain this level.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because remember, we started seeing him at the beginning of the summer doing full programs. If he can maintain this level, absolutely. He's showing consistency. You have to look at, you've got Nathan, Yuzu, Yuma, Shoma, Koida, frankly, vulnerable.
Jin's taken himself out in many ways. You know what I mean? It's right there for Vincent.
It's there for him to do. Yeah. So, but I think what we've also seen is if Jason Brown does a clean short program, he could knock him out.
Right.
With the components and some of the calls. So anything is possible at this point. And there's always other guys that do a great short and rise, in the season. So there are so many other men I would not count out in terms of getting into that final group, but I think it's very possible. Do you expect him?
Yeah, I really see Vincent is, again, top 5, 6 at the Olympics with this performance. Again, even though it's not my cup of tea and the jumps are a little squirrely, but what I appreciated was that I was getting something emotional from Vincent. Not necessarily in this like balletic tied to the music kind of way, but in this desperation that was kind of alluring to watch. Like, you knew that this performance was so important to him and was so big for his feelings that like I found him vibrating a different kind of energy that I'm used to seeing from him.
Well, you have to think on some level, what happened to him at Worlds has to be weighing him down, even though we don't see him as the skater that showed up at the World Championships and we think of him as, 6th place, whatever. For you, I think for a person to go out and perform like that and then be back on the world stage in this venue, in this arena months later, it's going to mean something to do that.
What did Dick Button used to say about wilting or something like that?
Don't be a wilter,
because again, an experience like Worlds for Vincent could have destroyed him. Like, could have messed with his mental game going into competitions, but it clearly inspired him. And what an amazing...
I mean, you have to think like quite a weekend for the USFS at Nebelhorn to come out of here as well as they possibly could have really hoped for.
Who's short? I don't know. We've talked about it. Who's short program? I kind of is my guilty pleasure is Adams from France.
You love a French skater. You love a quirky.
I love. It's like totally out there. It is 100% committed. It is masochistic. Some of those jumping styles where it's just like hurtling his body into the air, whatever happens. But his short program, even though you kind of eye roll, there's like Darth Vader, like breathing heavily in the beginning, but like his step sequence, which is a lightsaber fight, I don't know. I was with it. And it's also interesting because I didn't realize it was Mark that was going for Russia. For some reason, I thought
it had switched at the last minute.
Because it was Aliev, and then it was Inyatov, right? I thought Makata Inyatov was going, and then they sent Mark. And it's fascinating because he also does like a lot of the whipping section in that Jesus Christ Superstar, and yet it reminded me of a French guy's program. Do you know what I mean? And that it was like out there, super committed, a little wild, a little all over the place. But he did what he had to. So, and I thought Frangipani,
you had great quality, really great quality.
So much better than I remembered, especially in the short. I was like, oh, Italy's kind of doing a thing.
Yeah.
With these
the men's, that was interesting. Korea, really strong. showing as well for Xiongli in the free. I mean, lots of arms aloft going on, but really good. And Brendan Carey, you know, had a really strong short program, the free, not so much, but you know, moments of greatness for the men. I thought the women's event was a little bit more, after Roman, knowing if Roman was going to do it or not, I thought the men's event was like, all right, the rest of the guys are in, we know what's going to happen.
Right. The
women's competition, a little bit dicier. So
and are we taking that moment where we talk about this commentator?
Nico,
again,
yes.
I love the new style. I love this style that a lot of the guys are taking, which is just be quiet during the performance, and then whatever you say, actually I don't really care because you let me just see the actual program.
I don't know what Nico looks like, but Jenny said he's attractive. She's into it. So.
Oh, okay. It was just, he was so clearly afraid to say anything wrong. It was just really in a good mood to be there. It was kind of cute in a way, I thought.
So in the women's event, do you know who the girl from Ukraine is? Like, do you understand like that situation?
No, tell me.
Okay. So Anastasia Shabotova, she is from the Snow Leopards from Panova. That's one of the schools where Eteri likes to pluck the girls from, like Kanisheva. They always talk about whether or not they were going to take Sinitsina and then didn't. And, you know, there's often been especially among fans and among people that, you know, this is one of the places that has more sound skating skills and some of the techniques. And now people focus more on Davidov. But so this girl was the one who said on Instagram Live when she was asked how the girls at Sambo 70 do so well, she was like, well, you take a lot of dope and that's how you perform so well. And then it of course morphed into like this big story in Russia. You can Google it, it's there. You have people like Irina Slutskaya weighing in. Then it was like a forced walk back that this girl was joking. She didn't know what she was saying and she was really young at the time. Of course, Jonathan.
I know. I do remember this.
Russia was over. She went to Ukraine. And like to see her back and here, like surprising. Granted, we all make mistakes, say stupid things when we're young teenagers, but just a really interesting story that this was the girl that once said that, and probably most people have forgotten about it until, you know, we brought it up. But you know what?
That's what we're here to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
And she made it. Okay, she made it back. All right. When you have Irina Slutskaya yelling at you in the press, and to make it back, yes, all right?
You gotta dig in your heels and get to that Olympics.
So, and okay, our fake Polish girl, Katya Krakow, all right, second in the free skate, sixth in the short program. She was with Brian Orser, now she's in Italy. We saw the Benoitification of it. I mean, so many squats like this happening. Like, how many times, Benoit? How many times? Like,
yeah.
Is he? I don't know. Are we at the? I think Benoit has a lot of talent, right, for certain kinds of skaters.
He's not often given those skaters. That's
you know what they say about like the average star who's not a Mariah Carey or not a Whitney Houston, that you have like 10 years. Like, if you're going to be Jonathan Van Ness, and I think the window might even be shorter now, right? They used to say you have 10 years to make as much money as possible, do as many bullshit appearances, real appearances, everything. You collect that money, you invest it, and you live a very nice
Call it a day. Okay.
For what he charges and the bullshit choreography that we see, I hope he has a great Vanguard account. Like, come on. At some point, people are going to be like, oh, it all the same. Like, you don't say. This is not Lori Nickel level of work going on, because he gives the same moves to everyone, all right? Like, I think he's got a lot of talent, but he's clearly overbooked, running around, doing clinics and camps here and there, and like ridiculous.
But you have to see who's in front of you. And one wonders if
every
person in front of him seems angular and modern.
I don't think Katya, who's dressed like, I don't know, Polish Alison in Wonderland, is good. Like, I don't see this with her.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
What was that? Okay.
Yeah.
it's the same angles. It's too much. Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely a
We're playing
distinctive
chess,
style.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
But were there other choreographers that felt this much a flavor of the month?
Scott Brown.
Like, yes,
Scott
I
Brown.
do remember all those. So I'm happy it's a Benoit era and not a Scott Brown era.
Are you? I mean,
Yes.
same, different day, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, at least I find
It's like Scott Brown and a day of booze to me. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Scott, like, and I think that, again, these choreographers have talent, but people have talent for how many ideas a year? When you do this many ideas per year, and he's got an agent, and he's got the show coming out, and he's got this, and you're like, wait a second. Pause. You know,
again, don't blame him for saying yes.
190 an hour. Like, come on. Stop. All right.
Yeah. I gotcha.
And the thing is,
Well,
it's market value, and crazy skating parents will pay anything for an edge
because it seems like that was kind of a good pun, pay for the edge. Except they just get a flat squat. It's interesting because you see how many people in skating want the success to have a formula. It's a
vision of what you want to look like beyond winning.
Bingo.
Okay.
Versus tell me who to go to, what program to get, what music to skate to, because I'm just looking for a recipe for a gold medal. And when it becomes formulaic like that is when you totally get that disconnection. And some of the Sambo 70 school, like the more formulaic looking programs are the ones that are the most disappointing to me. And that's the same thing. Some of the Benoit things start to look a bit formulaic.
Some?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Honey.
Yeah. And it's just crazy how many people are with him. Yeah. People are afraid to like take a risk and try the next Benoit, you know.
I mean, he does good work for we've seen, right, with Takahashi.
Of course. Yeah.
He's got like one shtick that's really it's getting played out this season.
Yeah.
It's called chess. Right. Wait, I was gonna ask, this is such a sidetrack. Do we know what's happening with Takahashi, by the way? Is he still pursuing ice dance? Yes, he did well a couple weeks ago. That was the week you were off. He did well at a competition in Japan over Labor Day. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Because it had been sort of
quiet. Listen, Tim Coletto is getting gray hairs by the night because
I would imagine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he has a program where he has one of the few skaters that can actually pull off hip hop. So it doesn't feel like Hubble and Zach doing Janet Jackson. It feels like, he's looking more authentic.
Appropriate.
So,
yeah.
I mean, listen, the pattern dances.
Okay.
But he's looking really good besides that. So
Okay.
I mean, it's a Marina special in that free. They kept the free from last year.
Which I love.
Oh my God. My favorite is when they do like the assisted ballet jumps and like he's not actually holding her. She's just jumping and he has his hands like here.
Just elegantly placed. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Okay. I mean, the fakery and the whatever. Okay. Yeah. I am here for it. All right.
Yeah. It's working.
Got to the Olympics the year of the Beatles, which was another situation. And it feels like Japan is manifesting this Olympic medal. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch. I didn't realize he had.
Oh yes, I'll send it to you. It's
really
awesome. But
okay.
Yeah, Kehlani Crane bringing out the Gangster's Paradise here, and we love Kehlani. She had a good short program, 4th place. The free, you could really see the Nebelhorn nerves happening for the skaters. So not her best free. We saw her last month in Boston. She looked much stronger. So I think that this was nerves for her coming into play. And she got the last spot because Sweden didn't need their spot. So Paganini, 2nd in the short, 5th in the free. It was quite the event. I mean, there was messiness in the pairs. There was, for China not to get that third spot was surprising. Yeah, I mean, it all came together for Evgeni and Hailey Kops. I mean, incredible. Okay,
they had to book their ticket. Yeah.
Listen, you can't count him out. All right, 2026, Evgeni Krasnopolski, bet on. All right.
Okay.
I was
partner TBD.
I had a massage the other day. I took like a mental health day, got a massage, and he goes to the same person. And like, I was like, you think he'll go for 2026? Dave, he have to retire. He have to. I mean, he like 32, right?
Amazing.
Even the masseuse was laughing about, he always stayed with these partners for like 3 months. They're going for Olympics. Like,
yeah, and this time it worked.
You have to keep your humor about it, Jonathan. I mean, in this world, this crazy world.
If a massage therapist can, then certainly so can we.
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, he was working. We don't know about those girls. They come in, they leave, they go, but he has been there doing that same Impossible Dream program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
They should keep it. 2026. You know what? Don't mess with something. Don't mess with perfection. Okay.
Exactly. Which is what we're referring to when we think of the Impossible Dream. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So how about Trusova? Here we saw at the Cup of Russia, she was performing in the short program to get.
Was she trying to beat Tuktumisheva's record from that one season? I was like, could somebody let this girl sit one out? Like, I know that she withdrew from the Prix, but I was like, right from the Russian test skates. Then she flew to Boston and did that, and now she's flown back. Like, this is grueling, and I'm not quite sure why.
So my understanding is obviously Terry wants to sweep the Olympics, right? And obviously Russia wants to sweep the Olympics in the ladies.
I don't see any problem with that happening at the moment.
I think you've got a couple things going on. Trusova is believed to be the #1 contender for the gold medal in Russia right now, based on how the girls are looking and who grew over the summer, and
and that's a shift, because I was a part of the camp that thought, not wanted, but thought Valieva was the clear.
I think everyone has thought Valieva was, and I think Valieva has a couple of months ahead of her to adjust to added height, and we're seeing who the favorite is in September and who the favorite is in January, February. It could be two very different things. But now, Trusova has a great shot, but she's attempting a lot of things, and that this triple axel has been a real nightmare for her, this koshmar. So I think they're trying to have her out and do this, and I think that their plan is for her to show up in Vegas and really land that triple axel and do it. And
I just wonder, like, does this? And I was wondering, although it worked with Zagitova, because in the Olympic season for Zagitova, she obviously had kept the free from when she was the junior the year before, and they gave her the new short, and she kept bombing the short in the beginning of that season. And I thought, the more they have her do this and the more she bombs, is this not becoming more of a problem mentally? And that's what I was wondering about Trusova. Like, the more you have her fail at this short program triple axel attempt, are we now making a thing where she's going to have a hard time getting out of it? But of course, Zagitova just one day woke up and started nailing the short, and maybe that's what they think is going to happen with Trusova. To me, just repeating the mistake wouldn't help me actually get it at one point.
So I would agree about getting in your head, except for this individual's character that we've seen over time, is that we've seen her have sloppy free skates for an entire 2 years and keep thinking that the answer is to throw in more jobs.
Right.
So for most people, I would think, yes, I would, you would, right? She's a little bit of a different temperament here in terms of her fighting ability.
That's a good point. Very good
She seems determined. She doesn't seem to be someone that is worried about creating a beautiful picture on the ice, worried about a work of art being marred by a landing. She wants to go out there and achieve something athletically, technically.
Yeah.
If she needs to wipe the ice in order in these smaller competitions to do it, I think she thinks, who cares, right?
And I'm just gonna say it. I am a fan of the Frida short program. I think the music is phenomenal, and I think for Trusova, she does the most performing and the most sort of like dancing, if you will, in the opening sections of this short program. I find it a very effective short program for her.
It is effective. It's a good music choice. Jenny G got the inspiration when he was in Mexico. I watched that interview. Yeah, I think for her, it's that pattern, and it's when you're talking about the triple axel, you know, she goes across with that leg and goes so far into the circle, and then, you know, can go get off axis and fall. But she was doing that with Plushenka, so it's just been this problem of an element for her. But obviously, she is so determined to do it because to land a triple axel in the short program is such a huge point advantage, and she doesn't want to be coming from behind in the free. I just don't know if it's going to happen or not. She can. It's not that I don't think that she can land the triple axel with this technique, but I don't think it's going to be as consistent as a different pattern and a different approach would be towards that jump, a different takeoff.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen her get injured on it. We've seen her miss it countless times. I think it's possible, but it's not setting herself up for, you know, the kind of success that Tuktamisheva has doing the same element. So I don't.
Yeah.
But it's not her job. But
conversely, Tuktamisheva comes out, does a gorgeous triple axel in the short program, and then bombs the other two jumping passes. So unfortunately, this outing in general seemed another nail in the coffin that were Elizaveta's Olympic hopes, I think.
I think for Tuktamisheva, it has to be hard knowing that you're going into your Hail Mary Olympic season. And no one in skating seems to believe that it's going to happen. People want to root for it to happen. They want to wish her the best. They want to give her power and strength to do it. I don't know anyone that thinks that Tuktamisheva is going to be able to beat the kind of power that Eteri has right now in that.
I agree with you. And there's that part that says, did anyone think she was going to get a silver medal, like at the World Championship? Did anyone think she was going to make the world team? You know, I mean, she has defied odds in the past, but these seem pretty difficult unless.
Earlier on in the season last year, she did show glimmers, and Kosternaya showed vulnerability.
Yeah.
I'll be making another video about Russia this week, and certainly Kosternaya seems like she's vulnerable again. So I don't think it's over for Tuktamisheva, but there are just so many girls in that camp in Sambo. But the other thing that we've been hearing about Sambo is that maybe the skaters aren't exactly where they would like them to be right now in this Olympic season, and that's part of why they're putting them out in so many competitions to get them fighting and experienced and out there again. So
yeah, it's a marathon this season. I mean, that's like, we can go back to every Olympic season and see how the rumblings from the fall, some things come to fruition and some things totally.
You have to realize the Olympic season, we're already seeing it. There's every season, and then there's the Olympic season, because your mind is just so different during the Olympics when that pressure is on. We were talking about it with Megan, you know, how many, you know, when she bombed their early season competition, when it's
the opposite of mindfulness, because no one is in the moment in that competition. Yeah.
No, everyone is thinking about, what does this mean? What is this? What is that? And that's why you see the one skater that is like in the mindful, just climbing, easy, you know, like, and that doesn't have that same kind of, you know, that's why Azagitova or Levnitskaya like is able to come up the way that it is. And I probably this season we'll see a skater, maybe, you know, Kurakova, maybe someone else coming up in that way. So and I think Alysa Liu performing better time and time again. Not that I think she's going to get an Olympic medal in the individual event, but I think we're seeing, you know, building blocks of someone who doesn't have all of that. And then you look at Mariah Bell's outing at the beginning of this season and be like, okay, right, you know. So I'm, you know, curious to see how Nathan comes out in the beginning of the season, how he's doing, and otherwise. So, you know, it'll be
because Tuktamisheva has not mentioned pulling out the quads.
No.
I mean, I know she said in interviews, like, she doesn't see how one could make the team without them. I was like, are you holding out on us? Are you going to try to throw them in at some point? Again, hers have always been the most exciting of the quads I've seen in her practice footage. But I mean,
but for her, you have to realize, for her to do the quad, she could up her points a little bit. she really needs to do the quad and 2 triple axels and the triple, and it's like, okay, do you have enough power? Do you have, and what kind of physical preparation are you doing now to be able to do that later in the season and staying healthy and doing it all? And
yeah,
I think she's going to fight, right? I don't think she came this far.
right.
So,
Right. Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you look at who's ahead of her and you're like, okay, you know, Usashova, not seeing any quads.
Had a tough time, yeah.
Anna, we're hearing has quads back. We didn't see them early. You know, she's had illness and injury and grown a little bit. You never know. Is she vulnerable? Is she not? Mentally, doesn't seem vulnerable. Physically, maybe. You never know what could happen. And you're looking at Valyeva and you're like, well, she's taller. You know, Trusova trying all these quads. You think, if Tomisheva could be just right, but I don't think that the odds are in her favor.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But she must still see a path to it.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah.
But I think you have to when you're in that position.
Of course.
Right?
Otherwise, what are you doing? Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's.
I was really interested. I watched Trosova Morozov here also. She doubled a jump, but in the short, but they were both fighting for a little bit more in the free. And again, I think that's a win for them. The fact that they were fighting instead of popping some of them in the free. And I don't know how they've done this, but I think their throws are twice as high as they have ever been. The throw triple loop in the short program was literally, I think to date, one of the highest throws I've ever seen. I don't know how she lands them. And same in the free, both throws outrageously high. It was insane to me.
I'm wondering what has changed in the preparation, right? There has to be something in the focus and the focused intensity, maybe in the numbers that they're doing, but something has changed because they do look way more confident. They don't look perfect yet, but
something about the fight, because when I think I'm gonna mess this up, I think she bobbled on one of the jumps and then in the past would have clearly bailed on the rest of the thing.
She
fought, turned around and got like a double toe off of the end of it. And I think they must also be appreciating the idea of like, squeeze out a few more points. So you messed up squeeze out that double toe loop at the end. You're gonna have that many more points, you know.
You have to think that's in a Terry.
Point. Yeah. Yes. And it's interesting because I would think that whole team has to treat Trosova Morozov more as like colleagues and less with this sort of like child-adult separation that they might be used to with the, you know, typical ages they work with. Might be interesting, I would imagine, to see the dynamic of them sort of being.
I don't know if they're colleagues.
But you know what I mean? It's
in the words of Galina, coach will always be boss. So.
Yeah. But I would imagine they still have to adapt a little bit their handling of people that.
As someone who's 35 that gets spoken to like they're 11. No. Okay.
But the age gap between you and Galina is far greater than the age gap between.
Doesn't matter.
And Trosova. You don't think so? Okay.
Very Jonathan. Like.
But I was also thinking that
they have to feel like this is their shot. They have to feel like they have been the most talented screw-ups for how many seasons, and they have been taken into the fold by someone who believes in them, and who knows what kind of mental games and stuff is happening to get them in.
That would be fascinating. And even though they're not delivering perfection, no one's looking for perfection, but I do see them clearly adjusting their approach and fight and commitment, and it's working, I think. Yeah. And the men here, I forget because they sent Mark, who was an exciting yet kind of chaotic skater at Nebelhorn. But Samarin, Ermov, I think is the last name, like all of these guys were delivering some pretty incredible technical content here. And the depth in these Russian men, I know they're a little bit inconsistent still, but before we know it, in this next quadrennial, this is happening. I think there's going to be a great deal of depth coming out of Russia for these men.
For sure. Sure. That's why we got to light like US needs to step it up in the men's. I mean, there are some talent, but
But to see how many of them, how deep had not one quad, had 3 different high quality quads. I mean, yeah, they laid the groundwork to really dominate this next chunk.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Winter is coming, Jonathan, right? Yes. Yeah. How about the Junior Grand Prix? So this is, we saw Lindsay hang on for a medal here in quite a tough ladies field. Minche from Korea was another Korean lady, breath of fresh air, huge jumps, a little bit back on the heel, and kind of that a little bit of a Karen Chen delay, but an incredible rotation ability. It came down to a missed layback spin, but the top 4 ladies here, incredibly strong.
Solid. Yeah.
Like much stronger than at Nebelhorn. Let's cut the shit. Okay.
I agree 100%. Not only was the highest score higher at the Junior Grand Prix, but also just the depth of those 4 ladies was immense. The Somodelkina. Okay. It's interesting. She's putting out such high risk technical elements that did not make any grammatical sense at all. And so she sort of does this kind of emptier program so she can accommodate that. But somehow she tricks us more than Trusova does in her free skate. Somehow she gives the illusion of a program more while she's prepping for all of these big jumps. And that quad Saokao is exciting. It's exciting. And it's just, again, nice to see a lady at that level doing that content that doesn't look like the formula. She's a little bit
from the Davidoff school that people
exactly, and so it automatically interests me more because it's not the same formula, but yet she's doing the high risk elements. So that was kind of nice to see.
Interesting. We did hear that Veronika Zilina had to withdraw from her second Junior Grand Prix due to injury. So maybe Lindsay has a shot at the final. It's unclear how someone would make it. Based on the points in the past, Lindsay would have a clear shot at making it in if they add the points together rather than awarding, like the scores, if they add them together versus, things have changed. But, Lindsay, interesting is that I saw improvements, some real improvements, especially in her triple in the first half of the program, I thought looked much bigger. The second half of the program, the back ends were both cheated. But it looks like it's possible for her to get those clean binationals. I think with Lindsay, she's in a race against time to see, will she get the power and the clean rotations by Nashville? And what will the other skaters look like? Because if she does do 3 clean triples in Nashville, it's going to be hard to deny her points-wise, especially with US judges. I think the biggest thing that she can do is I don't think she's going to become the most outgoing girl between now and then. I think the speed is going to be huge for Lindsay. I think if they can work on that and getting those jumps with that music, I think in the free, getting that all together will be, and obviously they're putting the triple axel and they keep trying it and, it gets better and Lindsay wills stuff out. And, she's a fighter. So, and they want a Paulina Edmonds moment. I mean, that is their goal. That they are going.
And I have to tell you, she has been one of the few, despite under rotations or despite attempts at the triple axel that aren't quite coming to fruition yet, she is delivering basically clean programs at a time when really only Alysa is the other one doing that. Karen already
has to help her with the US judges. They have to look at that.
And she's doing exactly by showing up in Milwaukee and showing up in all of these like challenger events and the junior.
And she's gotten progressively better each time. So she's doing exactly what she can, it would appear. So, and I think not seeing her, obviously she won't have the senior Grand Prix. So she will have some time. I'm sure that they will throw her out at some senior Bs and things like that, but she will have a period of time where they do go back to work and start, really working on getting those jumps higher, because she's at, this chunk of time where she's just competed a whole heck of a bunch,
Do you think she needs the triple axel to be considered?
No, but I think it would
Solidify it.
solidify. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's working with good coaches on it. I mean, she works with Roman Sadovsky on the triple axel right now. It's, she works with Nina on her programs all the time. It's, they're
Well,
doing.
like you say, it's really interesting, her trajectory and scheduling for this season by doing the Junior Grand Prix instead of the Senior Grand Prix. It is a fascinating way to get all this mileage and then go back to the drawing board and then make a kind of a second push almost.
My understanding is that was from the USFS. I mean, I think that if Lindsay were invited to the Senior Grand Prix, I don't think she would have shied away from it. I think that she would have gone there and still performed the same way. She doesn't seem rattled in that sense. So I think,
but it's kind of an interesting way to organize this schedule for the season. I think
the UF wanted to make a bigger splash on the Junior Grand Prix after several seasons in the past where the US really didn't do much on the Junior Grand Prix for several years. And we're seeing this season that the results have been better. And perhaps they were putting the right skaters out there to get them ready for.
And Lindsay may have 2 medals and a final.
Isabeau and Kate Wang was better last week. And I think we're seeing some of the ladies at least getting the right kind of experience and the right girls at the right events. So I think they're doing better in that sense. So I don't know. It depends how strong can Lindsay get technically, physically. With months to go, we've seen the triples get better. And the one thing is that the triple axel mistake doesn't seem to unnerve her, like going for it and not doing it. Went
well, because there's sort of like cluttery, sort of like a cluster of legs and feet confusion but they're not like splats. They're not disruptive. She easily just turns around and keeps going. Yeah.
And I think that's the key. And if she had, like, when she went for the Euler Siao, I mean, there was a speed issue and she still went for it, which was impressive. And she stood up on it and, she's fighting. And I think you look at the skaters above her, Petrosyan, not the best technique, especially on the quad, but she has personality, pizzazz, and drive to get things done. Very reminiscent.
Those eyebrows, they're so expressive and like they make such a statement.
Facially, people have compared her to Medvedeva before, but she, to me, has something in the character of that fighting spirit when we watch her that makes her so exciting, even though that quad toe, not the best technique. But she's exciting to watch every week. I don't know. There's something about her that especially in the short program, I like it much better than the Prix. I don't know. The music edit, No Time to Die, Paint It Black, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but in Russia, apparently appropriate. I don't know. You can put anything together. I don't know why, but.
Well, and to be fair, like, since I call out sometimes the stories that certain age ladies are skating to, we did have the Korean skater who finished second in the short skating to Miss Saigon, which is again the story of a prostitute from Vietnam.
You love a teenage girl skating to a prostitute.
No, I don't. That's why I want to draw the attention to it. I was like, I wonder if this was the way to go.
Listen, why not? The Koreans, they love Les Mis from Yuna, right? Why not have like a prostitution special? We could do Miss Saigon short program, Les Mis free, Samson and
Salome.
Yes. Okay.
Amazing.
You know what? When Michelle was a biblical whore, it was fabulous, and we all celebrated that. Okay.
And almost by design, they were like, "This will make her seem older," and it was correct. Yeah.
Listen, we learned all about John the Baptist. Dick Button was all into telling us about her biblical whore.
Yeah.
Okay. No one was getting judgy. All right.
That's an unfair rap for Salome. She had a creepy stepdad. That should be the number one takeaway.
Oh, as if a lot of these skaters don't have some interesting parents. Okay.
Step or
Creepy
otherwise.
would be a step up for many
Okay.
of these individuals. Okay.
You know, like
Come
King
on.
Herod was easier than a skating parent. You know, you're in a dicey field. Yeah.
Yes, Jonathan.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
What do you-
Okay.
My goodness. How about seeing Medvedeva bringing back Alegria? I don't know what this tutu situation was.
Yeah, I was a bit confused, but of course, I was like, she's got the gloves on. Wasn't that the culprit for the cartwheel before? But like you said, nice solid two-hand with the gloves cartwheel at the end.
Were you waiting for it the whole program? I was like waiting on the cartwheel because you know what? I think everyone's just been like, oh my God, that was her last competitive effort. And to go out on the failed cartwheel, it was just, it was such,
Not
such
ideal.
a symbol
Not
of, like,
ideal.
what happened? What happened? You know?
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah. But it was interesting camera work also. When she went to do the Sao cow, the camera like zoomed out so far, you barely could see anything. I mean,
she really loves a butt out spread eagle. It's reminiscent of Karen Kadavi, right? I mean,
it's very true. It's just like, boop.
It doesn't really
And
cover
tuck.
much ice, but she really.
Yeah.
But you know what? I miss her when she's not around. Like Evgenia, I just want to know what's going on with her.
She wants to be performing. What?
She really is the Madonna of our sport. She really is. Okay.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Ever since the straight jacket with the boots, with the lace, just tying the boot together. Like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The interviews, the everything going on, the pair skating over the summer. She reinvents herself, Jonathan. And that's
What a chameleon.
yes. All right. You have to appreciate this about her. She is bringing the drama. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the show that she was at?
I don't
Was it
know.
Tour or something? Oh,
I
okay.
don't care.
Okay.
Literally, do you know what happened? I was at a dinner party. I was on my way home. So it goes. She skated to Alegria. My first response, did she do the cartwheel? Like,
Yes,
that's all I need to
Was she wearing gloves? Yeah, that's the other question. Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what show it was. Do you care?
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
No. Well, I
I
was
didn't-
curious if it was the same show where she was doing the pair skating or if this was just some other tour.
That was Anna Karenina, and I don't think that they have a Cirque du Soleil moment.
Got
in
it.
there.
I didn't realize it.
You know how
They could always, the Moulin Rouge soundtrack for the skating of the 90s was all that Cirque du Soleil music I felt like. Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness. I don't know. How are you feeling about this Olympic season? I mean, like, I feel now that we're through Nebelhorn, there's like, you know, messiness is subsiding. We're getting towards the Japan Open. We know you love Japan. We're going to see some of your favorites. Hopefully, Wakaba.
Yeah.
Always some more Benoit action. I'm really looking for the Wakaba Lion King moment. I did hear that Rika Kihira started jumping again this week. She's been at the cricket club. So, but getting
again, intrigued to see what happens, but with such limited time.
limited time. Yeah, I think it's injury and what happens, but
and logistics.
I don't know. I think for Japan, I'm curious to see, can Yuma set himself up to be the next men's star of skating? I think it's certainly possible, but I think that that's where
Right now, all signs point to yes in my book. I see it happening. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. So we'll see him next week at the Japan Open?
I believe we have to
Sorry,
check.
didn't mean
It's
to
an
interrupt.
internal event this year, so I think it's more possible than
Okay.
I memorized. But I'm, you know, my mind is shifting to Japan and like, what are the possibilities? Because I
It
feel
is
like,
exciting. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I feel like with the pandemic and COVID and all the other stuff, we haven't.
It's been very Russia and North America.
Yeah, we haven't like seen
Centered.
this Japan happening.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be very excited to see what's
even
going
on the Junior Grand Prix, you know, not seeing them here. So I don't know.
Right.
Hopefully optimistic in that we did see that Yuma did land a clean quad loop at a show. So, I mean, he's got some things, you know, with that.
Yeah. He could really do something here.
Now we've got Shoma doing Michael Jackson. I mean, we're bringing the A game. Okay.
Yeah, but again, the ladies shakedown there is going to be really interesting. So that's one of the other stories I'm really anxious to follow.
You know, they might need their own pyramid because they've got like 5 or 6 girls where you don't know what's going to happen there. So
That really have a shot here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We need pyramids. We just more pyramids.
All right. Okay, we'll start.
Dave, get thee to a craft store, because we could use an American one too.
Well, if people have ideas of how to do them, that way we don't have, they're going to need to be laminated is what they're going to need to do, or a Velcro situation. But whatever one is more doable, we don't have buckets of free time. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have a production department.
What was your moment of the week, Jonathan?
Let's see. I'm going to say the Tarasova Morozov throw triple loop in the short program at that Moscow Cup or whatever that was called. It was just sensational. Yeah.
I am going to have to say the environment around Evgeni qualifying for the Olympics.
The feel-good story you didn't know we needed.
And the feelings about it every which way that were just happening at the different ice rinks. Everything. Okay.
It has a real, and you can too, kind of a vibe about it. Yeah.
They were down, they were 7th, they needed to be 4th, and just being like, no, it's gonna happen. It is gonna happen. And
trust the process. Yeah.
Until the last moment. What a moment. And
yeah. We'll see him there.
We'll see him there. Hold it edge, you look sexy, everyone.
Bye guys.